Hello everybody, myself Sandeep and we are watching Top News Marathi. Today we are going to interact with the great Indian scientist, the man behind Prithvi missile, the missile man, of course, Mr. V.K. Saraswat. The legend Vijay Kumar Saraswat is nothing but only missile man, but previously served the chairman of DRDO and chief scientific advisor to the Indian Defense Minister. He is currently a member of Niti Aayog, Planning Commission of India, Chancellor of JNU, former Chancellor of JNU, and what not. So, it is an honor for me to interact with you. Jai Hind, sir, and welcome to Top News Marathi channel. Now, my first question, with your apologies, is it true that you are launched your first missile in the form of slate on your teacher? What is that exactly?
Yes, sir. Yeah, when I was a kid, I went to the school, and that was the primary school. Today's LKG, UKG, there used to be no LKG, UKG, it's to first standard. So the teacher asked me to write Ch in the letter Ch, and I wrote J, which is just the opposite. And he pulled my ear, and I got angry, and I had my slate with me on which I was writing. I took that slate and hit the teacher with that. And the teacher started bleeding and so ran from the school. That was the end of my primary education.
सर आपने बचपन में से ही क्या कहते हैं उसको एरोप्लेन उड़ाने में और रॉकेट दागने में आप शौकीन रहे हो. इस दिवाली आपने बहुत सारे फटाके फोड़े और कितने रॉकेट दागे?
इतने तो नहीं दागे जितने मैं पहले दागता था, क्योंकि आजकल पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल के लोग काफ़ी ज़्यादा जागरूक हो गए हैं और दिल्ली में भी काफ़ी इसके ऊपर पाबंदियां हैं, हैदराबाद में भी अब पाबंदियां हैं. तो इस बार हमने करीब 50 रॉकेट डाले. अदरवाइज ये नंबर बहुत पहले ज़्यादा होता था.
सर आपकी पैदाइश,
और मैं रॉकेट के बाद और ज़्यादा फ्लोर पे, उससे ज़्यादा और कोई पटाखा नहीं चलाता. मुझे रॉकेट ही चलाने में,
क्योंकि बचपन में भी आप रॉकेट ही
खरीदता था मैं.
सर आपकी पैदाइश कहाँ की है, आपने बचपन कहाँ गुजारा और आपने पढ़ाई कहाँ से की? टेल अस अबाउट योर अर्लियर लाइफ.
जी, मेरा जन्म हुआ था ग्वालियर के पास एक जगह है मुरैना, अबाउट 30 miles away from there. But my parents moved from Morena to Gwalior. So all my childhood, to the best of my memory, is in Gwalior. I don't think I was more than 6 months old before I came to Gwalior, obviously. So Gwalior has been a place where I did my education. I used to be, as I mentioned to you, that my primary education stopped after I hit the teacher. So I was given education at home most of the time. And I think when I was 8 years old, my teachers in those days used to be my brothers and sisters, elder brothers and sisters, and my father to some extent. So my father decided that now I'm 8 years old, I should join a school. And I was knowing the languages. I knew Hindi, I knew English, and I knew numbers and tables and things like that. But I was not given the real primary education what any other child would have. So I was not knowing history, I didn't know geography. But my father, who was a teacher, my father was a teacher himself, so he took me to a middle school. The name of the middle school is Janakganj Middle School, I still remember.
आज भी है?
आज भी है, वो भी है. तो मैं वहाँ गया, मेरे फादर मुझे लेके गए. Then he told me that, he told the headmaster. My father was a very well-known teacher in the Gwalior, so a lot of respect was given to him. So he told the headmaster, he is my son, please give him admission in 6th standard.
Okay.
So headmaster said, no problem, sir, give him certificates and all that, we'll give
यानी
admission.
आपले पहिली पढ़ाई अपनी 6th स्टैंडर्ड में
Sixth
से शुरू
standard. So then he said there is no certificate. He didn't go to any school, but you have to directly admit him to 6th standard.
Wow.
So the headmaster was bewildered how it can be done. So my father said, you take his test. So I was taken by 3 teachers. One tested me in English, another in arithmetic, and third one in some general knowledge kind of questions. And I performed well. So I was admitted in the 6th standard.
यानी पिताजी ने बोला मैं ही सर्टिफिकेट दूंगा.
So that's how my education started. And initial first year was very difficult for me because I had never gone to school. I didn't know what was examination, how to prepare for examination, how the things had to be done. So initially, first 6 months was a horrifying time. But after that, I picked up. And since then, from primary till I did my engineering from Gwalior only. So it has been a very good journey because I was a scholarship holder right from, because I scored a position in my 8th class. It used to be a board examination. From that time onwards, till I finished my engineering, I was continuously on a merit scholarship. So that is my background of primary and engineering education up to BTech level.
Okay.
There is another story of that. When I completed higher secondary, which is to be 11th standard, at the age of 14, because I was given admission at the age of 8 in 6th standard.
Yes, exactly.
So obviously I finished early. I was not qualified to get admission in the engineering college. So my father said that you should now do BSc. So I joined BSc and did very well there. So after finishing BSc, I was given direct admission in the 2nd year of engineering. In the Gwalior, we have a college called Madhav Engineering College, which is nowadays called MITS. So there I did engineering. After doing engineering, there is another episode in my life. My father retired by that time, so there were some financial pressures at home. So he said, you should take up a job. And he had good connections, so he could get me a job in PWD. But I was not interested. I said, I will not do PWD job. I want to study 4. My father used to work in Morena in those days. He said, no, you don't go anywhere. But I had applied for admission in IITs, IISc and other places. I got admission in Indian Society Bangalore. So without telling my father, I took some money from my elder brother and came to Bangalore. And I went back only after finishing 1 semester. So that's how my education started. Then I did my post-graduation. After that, I was campus recruited by DRDO. And 1972, I joined DRDO.
Sure. Mr. V.K. Saraswat is a recipient of the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan from Government of India. Sir, how did you become obsessed with becoming a scientist?
Actually, to be very frank with you, I did not have an idea of research till I completed my BTech. It's only during my 2 years at the Indian Institute of Science, I developed a lot of interest for research because the kind of ecosystem which was available in Indian Institute of Science was quite different from my engineering college. It was such an ecosystem which led you to think and do things yourself, explore yourself, not spoon feeding. It was not like that. So I slowly developed a taste for learning myself. And when you learn yourself, you have to explore. And hence you have to do research. There used to be occasions when we will be given some very odd topic and we had to write a symposium paper on that. We had to struggle to collect data. In those days, there was no internet, there was nothing. So you had to go to library and that gave me a lot of impetus towards research, exploring. Then my MTech project was an experimental project. And that again triggered a lot of experimentation capability. And I realized that I was, after doing that project, that I was a very good experimentalist. Rather than a theorist, I was more an experimentalist. And that was demonstrated throughout my life as a DRDO scientist also. I used to test missiles, I used to test rocket engines, so that is the kind of background that made me learn that research is the right choice. Because experiment gives you direct uh, feeling of how a phenomenon is taking place, how it is happening, what is the kind of output. So that used to give me a lot of satisfaction.
Yes. Now let's move to DRDO. DRDL makes you a complete scientist. But how was your first step in DRDO? And also tell us something about your memorable and unforgettable contribution in the launching Prithvi missile.
I will tell you my first task which was given to me when I joined DRDL. It used to be DRDL in those days. That was a missile lab,
Defense Research and Development
development
Laboratory.
laboratory in Hyderabad, which I joined there. So I was given a task of testing the propulsion stage of a missile. And I had no experience of doing that. I had not even seen the propulsion stage. So we were shown one Russian propulsion stage, which was lying somewhere in that. And my boss said that you please test it. Now that is where research comes. The literature available was so meager. The information available was so meager. But I have to now understand all that, design an experimental setup for him. I did all that along with my team. Of course, I was not alone. I had a couple of other colleagues with me. And we set it up. After about 6 months of work, we were ready for a test. And that was my first experiment in DRDL. And there was a control room like this room, and behind that is a test bed with a wall. You can see only through a glass. In those days, there was no CCTV cameras and things like that. So I pressed the button, and I found a loud explosion.
Okay.
The stage which we had rigged up blew up. It exploded. And the roof of the test stand also flew. So that is my experience of testing a explosive system. That was my first experience. That taught me many things. From there onwards to the first launch of Prithvi, which was in 1988, there has been a continuous journey of doing experimentation on rocket subsystems, missile subsystems, devices, components, designing them, manufacturing them, and testing them. And every time there is a new experience because it is not reported somewhere. You are actually evolving, trying out your idea. Sometimes it works, many times it fails. And every failure used to tell us what went wrong, and we used to improve on that. So that is how research helped me. And that's why when I went for the first launch of Prithvi, that was the first time India was launching a surface-to-surface missile in the country. Nobody has done
Nobody
that.
else.
And on that day, Dr. Kalam, who was the program director in those days, and Dr. Arunachalam, I was sitting on the launch pad. Missile was there on the launcher. So they said, are you worried? I said, yes, I am worried. He said, what are you worried for? I said, this is a vertical takeoff missile without any guidance, without any support from. So I don't know whether as it lifts off, it will topple. Although we have designed a control system which will keep, it's like you take a stick and you try to balance a stick on your finger. Have you tried? In the childhood, I used to do that. A stick you will take and then you try to balance it on your finger or your palm. It requires effort. And many times it falls. Exactly same thing happens in missile if it is not properly designed. So he said, you think it will topple? I said, good chance if my control system is not working or my propulsion system is not working properly, it can happen. So next day morning was the launch, and again I pressed the button. It lifted majestically without any, and after that once it lifted, it went to a height of 10 meters. Then I said, now it will perform. And precisely that happened. It went to the full range. First time, first launch successful.
Surface to surface.
Surface to surface.
Yes, exactly. Sir, you have worked very closely with several scientists, but one of the names is unique, the former president of India, Bharat Ratna, the missile man, Honorable Dr. APJ Abdul
Abdul
Kalam.
Kalam.
So please tell us of your memories with Dr. Abdul Kalam.
Dr. Kalam was actually the turning point in my life. First 10 years in DRDO was without Dr. Kalam, but he came in 1981-82. By the time I was 10-year-old in the system. We have developed a working style. When Dr. Kalam came, our working style completely changed. He transformed the system completely. My personality as a scientist went through a transformation due to association with Dr. Kalam. I used to be a very aggressive person. If my point is not appreciated by others, I used to literally fight with people. When I saw Dr. Kalam's behavior during technical discussions, and I used to get very excited and things like that. Kalam used to maintain a calm composure, and he never triggered anybody. So such things when I learned, I realized that Dr. Kalam has the ability to make people of two different psychologies to work together.
In South and Pole, South and North Pole.
North Pole and South Pole, he could make them work together.
And he's a focused man.
He's a totally focused man. So some of these qualities I learned from him. Doing project not by direction, but doing project by coordination. That was his mantra. So I could, at the age of 32, I was deputy project director. And at that time, I could have about 150 of the DRDL scientists working for me. And outside DRDL, in other labs and industry, total put together about 800 people were working. And I could manage that, if I could manage it, because of the kind of tacit training which I got by being with Dr. Kalam and watching him doing things. I always call him as my mentor. He was my mentor till he died.
So we already heard that there is some debate in between you and Dr. Kalam on I think the launching in Prithvi missile, solid propellant or liquid propellant. What is that exactly?
Now, what happened when Dr. Kalam came? By the time I had developed a liquid rocket engine, a 3-ton liquid rocket engine, and when Prithvi project was given to us, at that time, before Dr. Kalam came, we had already finalized this configuration. So in that configuration, after a lot of debate internally, we had finalized that it will be a cluster of 2 liquid rocket engines to power the missile, to propel the missile. But when Dr. Kalam came, he came from background from Department of Space. And Department of Space had not done any liquid propulsion. They had done only solid propulsion. Even the SLV-3 which Dr. Kalam launched as a project director was a solid propulsion. So his experience was limited to solid. And solid, he felt that is more reliable. It is less number of components. So we should use solid. So he wanted me to change that propulsion system from liquid to solid. And that was our confrontation point. Because my 8 years of work of developing an engine will not be used in a missile. I did not like it. And also, I told him the distinct advantages of using a liquid engine and the technology readiness level which existed of the liquid rocket engine vis-a-vis the solid rocket engine was superior. So I mentioned that, look, we are there already, a proven system is there. Solid we have to develop, number one. Number two, in DRDL there are no solid propulsion facilities. There is no solid propellant facility. He said, no, we will take it from Department of Space. I said, I want it to be homegrown product. And this is a homegrown product available. So for almost 3 years, 82 to 85, 86, this debate between me and him continued. And during the testing of the liquid rocket engine, once or twice the engine failed for some reason of manufacturing defect or something. Every time he will say, see, I told you, change over to solid. Now you are a project director, you should change over. But finally he put a target on me. 5 tests you do without any fault, then I'll allow. I was lucky, I carried out 5 tests, went successful, and it went.
Yes, sir. Now we will talk on Niti Aayog. There are some two questions.
Yeah.
Uh, what is your exact key role in Niti Aayog?
See, Niti Aayog, I am primarily looking at as a member science and technology. In addition to being looking after the science and technology contours of our country, I also work on energy sector. That means today we are talking of renewable energy and clean energy and things like that. I'm also working on industry interface. That is how to improve the industry setup in our country, how to solve the problems of bringing efficiency in the production, how to make more and more the products which are which are using the indigenous technologies, and how to make industrial growth. Basically, that's the whole idea. So, industry, energy, science and technology, and in addition to that, I coordinate many things on climate, the climate change. So this is my basic portfolio which I look at. Science and technology, we in the energy sector, another area is alternate fuels. So I have spent a lot of my time on developing alternate fuel called methanol. And methanol economy has been my major contribution in the last about 8 years. To country did not have any say in methanol. Today we have methanol, 100% methanol trucks. We have diesel generators that's running on methanol. We have cooking stoves running on methanol. We are making methanol from coal. We are making methanol from bamboo, and so many things have come up now. And of course, science and technology, today we have National Research Foundation. We have many reforms which we have brought in today. All that is part of my science policy we are working on. How to bring innovation in the Atal Innovation Mission. We have been a part of that. How to bring innovation and the startups together. As you know, how much progress we have made today in the startup. Today we have 117 unicorns and so many lakhs, more than a lakh startup companies that have come in the last 10 years. So this all is because of the major contributions of Niti Aayog.
Sir, for many years you have worked in the field of missile launching research. क्या ऐसे में जब आप नीति आयोग के लिए काम करते हो तो क्या आपका मन उधर लगता है या फिर भी आज भी आपके सपने में पृथ्वी, अग्नि और नाग मिसाइल आती है?
देखिए, as far as missiles are concerned, it is in my blood. I have worked on that for more than 40 years. So even if today I get even one opportunity to go and even take a review of the projects or work with DRDL scientists on some of the projects, I don't miss it. I still go. For example, Government of India wanted a detailed project report to be made on AMCA missile, AMCA aircraft,
Okay.
Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. I was the chairman of that committee. I worked for 6 months. We made a report.
Okay.
Similarly, engine, a turbojet engine for AMCA. Again, a committee was made. So I keep participating in that. But certainly there is a fading interest now, which is not the same. It is a fading interest because my interest in other areas has gone up considerably. For example, as I mentioned to methanol, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And my latest interest is on small modular nuclear reactors because I personally believe that future is for nuclear energy.
Yes, sir. I think I take this opportunity to thank you for profoundly your valuable time and also sharing your intimate thoughts with us. We are so pleasure about that and thank you for coming here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you.
तर हे होते द मिसाईल मॅन VK सारस्वत. अर्थात तुम्हाला मुलाखत कशी वाटली? आवडली असल्यास अर्थातच नक्की शेअर करा, लाईक करा आणि हो, टॉप न्यूज मराठी चॅनलला सबस्क्राईब करायला विसरू नका. पाहत रहा टॉप न्यूज मराठी, आपला महाराष्ट्र, आपली बातमी. जय हिंद सर.
Namaskar.
25 वर्षांचा प्रदीर्घ अनुभव व अत्याधुनिक तंत्रज्ञान यांनी सुसज्ज असे पुण्यातील आकाश आय क्लिनिक व लेझर सेंटर. रोबोटिक पद्धतीने वेदनारहित मोतीबिंदू शस्त्रक्रिया, तेही विना टाका व विना इंजेक्शन. मेडिक्लेमची सुविधा व सेम डे डिस्चार्ज. लेसिक लेझरने चष्म्यापासून कायमची मुक्ती फक्त 10 मिनिटात. काचबिंदू, रेटिना, ड्राय आय, मायोपिया अशा अनेक डोळ्यांच्या विकारांवर उपचार म्हणजेच आकाश आय क्लिनिक आणि लेझर सेंटर. CTR कंपनी जवळ, विमान नगर, नगर रोड, पुणे. संपर्क 8888173100. टूर्स अँड ट्रॅव्हल्स विश्वातील एक विश्वसनीय नाव मँगो हॉलिडेज घेऊन आले आहेत धम्माल फॉरेन टूर्स खास तुमच्यासाठी. एक्झॉटिक युरोप 17 रात्री 18 दिवस, साऊथ आफ्रिकन सफारी 9 रात्री 10 दिवस, नॉर्दर्न लाईट्स 8 रात्री 9 दिवस, दुबई अबुधाबी 5 रात्री 6 दिवस, व्हिएतनाम कंबोडिया 8 रात्री 9 दिवस. तर आजच आपली सीट बुक करा आणि आपल्या फॉरेन टूर्स मेमोरेबल करा. मँगो हॉलिडेज म्हणजेच अविस्मरणीय सहलीचा अनुभव. मँगो हॉलिडेज, चौथा मजला, स्वोजिस कॅपिटल अतिथी रेस्टॉरंटच्या वर, लॉ कॉलेज रस्ता, पुणे 4. संपर्क पुणे 83 839 505 किंवा 80 80 81 74 54. मुंबई 83 839 503 किंवा 96 53 18 74 78.
Come on guys, hurry up.
अरे सुन ना, एक ब्रेक ले लेते हैं.
Guys, I'm telling you, तुम लोगों को सही से ट्रैकिंग नहीं आता. But that's okay, you can learn. रोज का ढक्कन देना. तो ये रेड वाला है, सही वाला देना.
अबे ढक्कन, पहले तो सही पानी पीना.
Manikchand Oxyrich, proudly Indian.